Hello tubesters, it's me Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today, as you can see, I'm in my own personal tanning salon. Somebody who doesn't leave the house much, it's perfect. Although the little wheel on the electricity meter is going round like a good one. Today it's a unboxing, but first of all a huge thank you. I've just got to go down here to said box. As you've already seen the titles. I often do these without obviously thinking what I'm going to put on the title, but as we all know, Gav bought this and I only saw the little tiny picture on eBay, you know, the little square, and I didn't really notice that the tank was invisible more or less, and of course what I was buying was the crew, but Gav thought he was buying the whole tank. Of course he did, you know. I can't remember how much I paid for these, £10, £11, yeah, £11 for a Meng kit, of course, yeah, brand new. Oh, the naivety, even at my age. Yeah, so there's three figures here and a motorcycle. These are Great War figures, so First World War, and they're for French tank crew. And the tank is an FT17. Now, I just, you know, felt slightly dispirited, put them in the stash. As you know, I showed that the little stash off the other day in a video, and I'd said they'll get done whenever I get a French tank of some description of that era. It wasn't going to be any time soon, and then I got an email from a good mate of mine, Beetle. You'll see him put comments down on some stuff and some of your stuff as well, saying that him and Mrs Beetle had got a kit for me, and they got it over in the UK Amazon to obviously so negate all the shipping and things like that, because as we know it's a killer postage in general in whatever country you're in these days, but and before obviously the situation we're all in at the moment. But yeah, he said, and then they had trouble because of our postage system. The guys are working their socks off, but it is obviously a lot unpredictable, shall we say. You know, you're never 100% sure when you're going to get your parcel. And again, it's not for the want of trying off the guys from the postal service and the couriers. They're doing a brilliant job. They're really digging in for us all. But you've obviously just got to take it on the chin. It comes when it comes, and he'd been contacted by the seller saying he couldn't get they weren't accepting the parcels in a couple of depots or something. And I said, oh, no worries, you know, it's there's a lot of worse things going on at the moment in the world than you know, getting a nice gift, or even stuff I bought myself. You know, I've been quite content. Well, I wouldn't say content, but you know, if it disappears into the ether and I never see it again, I think with what's going on at the moment, you know, it's you know, it's just one of those things. You just take it on the chin. But he said, would you like to know what it is? And I said, well, no. I said, let's just say it's like Christmas, you know, and see what comes. And lo and behold, obviously you saw by the photograph, hopefully, that I've taken, this is what came through the post today. It's the Meng FT17. They've done several versions of these. I didn't realise until obviously I started, you know, I was shaking when I opened the package, as you do, and it said full interior, and I take it this Tyrannosaurus Rex thing, it means it's a full interior. You guys will know better than I do, but it's a full interior kit. It comes with everything. I've not actually unpackaged anything yet, so when we go through it, it'll be only because I haven't had a chance yet. I've been doing the day job of cleaning up 1001 soldiers for a client. But yeah, it's the French FT17 light tank with a cast turret. They also have a bolted turret version where the plates were bolted on, much like you'll see this anyway when I show it a bit closer, much like the hull. You can have it in French Great War, which is the one I'll be doing, obviously because I've got French Great War soldiers to use. They do a Finnish version from February 1940, it says, and that looks great because you could do lots of chipping and stuff on that. And they also do a German version. As we all know, the Germans used them in partisan operations and airfield protection, that type of stuff, and a World War II French one. And obviously, as I say, I'm going to go for the Great War, as I call it. It was always called the Great War in the UK up until the Second World War, and obviously then it became the First World War, but I still prefer calling it the Great War. We're going to go down to the bench in a minute, but I just really wanted to say thank you again, Beetle, Mrs B. You know, I've said it before, we have a lot of, you know, there's a lot of negativity, and especially now obviously, there's a lot of negativity with social media and obviously YouTube, I suppose, is social media. You know, I'm not really clever at that type of thing. But there's also a lot of positivity that comes with it as well. People doing things for other people, you know, sending, you know, in my situation, sending kits out. I've had soldiers sent to me in the past, you know, I've given all these people thanks for it. It's absolutely fantastic, you know. It's I was having a bad couple of days, you know. When sometimes you can sometimes see in my face, but other times I'll you know, I'll put my camera face on. But I've had a bad couple of days, and to get this through was absolutely fantastic. I just started cleaning the Mi-8 helicopter up last night, and I'm getting into a true modeller now, because now I have boxes of I've started stuff everywhere. But as we all know, Beetle sent me a Land Rover Pink Panther, and I haven't got round to doing it yet, only purely because when I did get ready to do it, other people were doing it, and so I thought, what's the point? So I did the lav. Well, the lav, I've just literally sprayed up some radio antenna and stuff today, and she's ready to have some mud on tomorrow, and then she's finally done. I'm a bit behind with that one. But this has got to be. I was going to do the grad launcher next. I'm pointing there because it's down there. I was going to do the grad launcher next, and then decided, no, I've got the Mi-8 here, and I love my helicopters. I'm going to build this Mi-8 first. And as I say, I just got a few parts out. Again, it's not hurting anything because they are now just cleaned parts, and they're in the box waiting. But I've got to give this a go. There's no way this isn't not getting started. I was hoping to do it tonight, but we'll see. Might have an extra hour or so on it. But let's go down to the bench and take a look. And again, I think I've said it 2 or 3 times, but I'm losing concentration as always. Thank you very much. It meant not just to have the kit itself, but to one that you've actually thought. The lad hasn't got he's got figures, he hasn't got a thing. I can never afford stuff like this. You know, or if I do, it means I've literally sold everything I've got. So it's meant a hell of a lot, and I hope I can do it justice for you guys. So again, join me at the bench, guys, and we'll take a look. Well, guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. A rather mucky bench as usual. So, and as usual, I've already lost a pointy stick. So what have we got? As everything falls down around me. Right, Meng kit. It says it's a 1 in 35 Tyrannosaurus series. It says TS008 is the kit number, I presume. Let's have a look. It says authentic reproduction of the vehicle interior, options for all doors to be in open or closed position, realistic movable suspension system and cement free, workable tracks included, 3 weapon options and an 8mm Hotchkiss 1914 machine gun rack included. I believe from what I've read on what some of the links that Beetle sent me, that the machine gun can be actually posed as strapped down to the back of the vehicle, or used as part of a dio, or saved for a later project. 4 paint schemes, precision PE fret included. And that is our bag of, sorry, creaky chair. It's our bag of Sprues. I've got nowhere to put them at the moment. The bags are heat sealed. I believe you'll have to cut them open to actually get to the sprues. I mean, just looking through the bag, quality is absolutely first class. So a large sprue with the cast turret. Ooh, lots of track links. Obviously they're more of the Great War type. I'll show those better in a bit, but I won't actually get those out. I have track links everywhere. We've got our working suspension by the look of it. Small PE fret. Looks like the obviously usual different straps. The nice tight packet sealing in the decals. Again, we'll have a proper look at those in a bit. And let's have a look at our that box is really nice and rigid. You only start learning things like this when people used to go on about boxes. I used to say, well, you know, you'd see, you know, box is a box, but when you start stacking things up, no, they're not. Presume Chinese, with the English obviously telling you the different options you've got, places it's served. We've got Russian Cyrillic. It says here this guy is the father of French tanks. I don't know, well, I know bits about Great War tanks. Great War is one of the subjects I like a lot, but I know more actually of the cavalry version, so as in more 1914, 1915, and the war at sea and the Dardanelles particularly. We've got our engine. Can we go in closer, Gav? I'm not very good at this type of stuff. But we've got our engine. And we've got our overall tank, as we see there. Let's go back out again. Get a better view of that. As usual, all the tools we need. Telling us there's 4 options of paintwork. We've got transmission assembly. See, I've said to you guys before, this is the bit I love. I know I do it all wrong. You know, I stick bits to the wrong part and they're crooked, and I do have trouble. You know, I do believe it's my head. I do have trouble when I'm reading instructions, actually processing them all. It's a bit ridiculous, really, at my age. But unfortunately, as we all know, Gav's got head problems. So yeah, we've got our engine assembly. Again, I love to be able to sit at my bench and don't get me wrong, I love my painting, and my painting works well for me as well, but I also just love sitting here snipping styrene off and sticking it together. It sounds ridiculous, but it's really is therapeutic for my head. We've got radiator assembly. I mean, look at we've got all our cogs and, well, not cogs, but we've got our belt drives, radiator hoses, oil filters. Down here we've got our steering linkages, are they? Oh no, I think it's just engine mountings. Getting our engine into position. Gav drops everything down. Sorry guys, I've got everything propped here, trying to hide things away from you. You can still see me rotten cruddy bench. Here we've got like our firewall. It's a beautiful booklet. You can understand why these kits cost so much money. Just the style of them, you know, and it's we've got looks like drum magazines for the machine gun if you're going to go down that option. Stowage shells for the 30 or 40mm gun. Seat goes in. I believe there are different, again, seeing some of the links that Beetle sent me, I've not gone through them all yet, but one of them was saying that it was different, obviously different options, interior options, depending on what you were going to have. So if you have the Hotchkiss machine gun, then obviously you have these drums for it, by the look of it. Yeah, they're telling you to mount everything on the side plates before you put everything on. I'm just wondering, like somebody else said online, that he did all of his afterwards, so he didn't knock anything off. And I might go down that route. What I'm trying to do with my modelling is actually try and read ahead. As I say, I do have trouble trying to retain stuff, but I'm trying to, you know, look ahead at things and you know, work a different way of doing it if it's not always the most easiest way for myself. Got our road wheels. Drive wheels. Well, if I can build this, then I can definitely do that T55. It's just a matter if I can get the T55 apart to actually redo it. It's a cracking book. I wish they'd all. Oh, I suppose it costs more money, I suppose, but it's a brilliant way of putting instructions together. Obviously, telling you how to put the tracks together and link them up. Turrets are last to be worked on by the look of it, and they're going through your different options again. I did actually only think of having the Hotchkiss on, but looking at they're giving you the dates for the different machines, and I'll be probably having the 30-40mm gun, because that's more what they're actually saying was on there. Then obviously putting our turret together, mounting it on our tank, and then we've got that Hotchkiss. Obviously we've got our sprue, telling us what sprues and what parts are on what, our decal options. Some very nice painting guides at the back. See, I've never done anything like this before. I've got I'm usually building 15-year-old trumpeter kits, which is nothing wrong with the trumpeter kits at all. It's just obviously they're of their age, like, you know. I've got a couple to do, which I'll be doing. But this is absolutely fantastic. This is such a beautiful way of doing. I'm enjoying the instructions without even having a look at anything else yet. So yeah, that's our instructions for our. Let's see if we can go back a bit on that one. That's our instructions. Trusty scissors. I'm not going to do these in any particular order. They're just in the order that they come out. I apologise for the sound of the bags, but as usual, I'm trying to get this review done and this thank you done in the same day. I've probably done it better tomorrow, but it is what it is. Oh, it's got some cracking, when I say cracking, the good old British way of saying cracking, as in really good. Lovely cast texture on this turret. Beautiful. Very, very nice. There's a very slight line around there. I don't know if that's going to be showing up, little mould line. I don't know if that's a mould line or just part of the cast as it where it should be. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Our cupola, whatever you want to call it. And our different mantlet options. Yeah, beautiful. Can't see any flash on those at all. Got one of the guns there. I think that's the later one. I may be wrong. I've got to be real careful here. My dog's having a kip on on the landing behind me. And if you remember, I was doing a show and tell and started working on the T55, and he'd gone off downstairs. Good, because he was off with with my turret, if you guys remember. These look like the magazines, if you're going to be using those. As I say, I think they've got different options for obviously the different weapons that you've got. I'm just trying to see. Very fine mould lines on a couple of these, but you've got to have mould lines. These little guys here are ammunition, and they are little. You've got stowage baskets there. Believe that might be the firewall. Yeah, cracking. Going to be interesting to see if those little shells, if I need them, go off. If they're going to be pinging off left, right, and centre, or if they're going to break. I don't know. We've got our engine parts, I believe. A radiator maybe. Look like the fins of a radiator. Pulley details, engine details are lovely. Yeah, really nice. I've got no problem with the colour of the sprues either. People say some colours are better than others, and again, I'm too much of a novice to know what's right and what's wrong, so as far as I'm concerned at the moment, that's good enough for me. We've got looks to be leaf springs. Again, drive wheels, sprockets. And that's replicated. Some lovely shackle details. We've got some lovely D-shaped shackles, or U-shaped shackles, which is which. Looks like we've got lower skirts maybe of the tank. I mean, heck, there's a Hotchkiss in here that's that's a stunning bit of moulding, that is. Yeah, Hotchkiss. Beautiful. And we've got our stand, I'd imagine, for the Hotchkiss as well, if you're going to use it in that type of configuration. Beautiful bolt detail. That should take some nice weathering. We've got different cast numbers cast into as it would be, and here we've got, like, because obviously a lot of these were actually made by the companies that made threshing locomotives and steam locomotives, and they still had the pride of putting their maker's stamp, you know, on the tanks as they would do. I've seen, you know, the British male and female tanks. They were made by companies that made agricultural steam engines, I believe. We've got some great canvas detail there again. Seats, I presume, and I believe that might be for the gunner to sit on. I might be wrong though, or commander stroke gunner. We've got more mantlets here by the look of it. Side of the tank with underneath of the tank, it's got a little access panel there. But even the really thin pieces, I can't see any problem apart from, I mean, you know, you guys that have made these type of kits will know how easy it is to release those from the sprue, but there's no distortion, there's no flash on them. Got our sides by the look of it. floor pan maybe for the turret. Well, not floor pan, but we've got our usual Pioneer type tools, as I call them. I will be hopefully doing a little dio for this, because obviously I've got the figures. I'll do the figures as an unboxing. There's not much to them. We'll do that though when I get closer. I'll obviously do the model first and then do the figures afterwards. So, and then what have we got here? Oh, our wheels. I won't get those out for now, just in case I snap one off and lose it. It's our little wheels. Again, I like the way how they're pushed up there to make it. Yeah, that's nice. No, I like it. That's absolutely fantastic. Let's just have a quick squiz at these. Again, I'll just show them the little marks, ejector marks on the things that might just need a bit of a file down. I'm not 100% sure. It looks like they do. Unless I'm looking at, no, I'm not looking at the underside. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm not going to get the decals out. I'll say I like the way they've been packaged. They're nice and tight, so that carrier film ain't going to go anywhere. Or protective cover, what do you want to call it. That's our different decal options. This is our little, let's make sure that is shut. Got our tiny little springs there. And again, our PE. So guys, and of course I've put everything in, just so you're not talking to everyone, watching a blue square. Let's put that back again, just so you've got something to look at. So far, so good. I'm bound to stuff it up, you just know me. If it can go wrong, it will do. But the motto of my channel is, what can possibly go wrong? So I'm going to be posing this, showing this is shown all, obviously all shut up. Mine will be open. I was possibly thinking, I didn't want to do the usual crossing the mud type thing. I wanted to do maybe the move into the Rhineland, the real latter few weeks of the war, or even the occupation of the Rhineland, I'm not sure. But maybe have something like that, maybe put her on, if I can buy some cobble, you know, a little square of cobbles or something, rather than the mud. I just think it'll be a bit different, and add a few bits and pieces around it, but without having the usual as it shows here. I mean, you can't have a dio without a busted wheel of some description, but I just thought with the motorcycle, keep it fairly clean, you know, not too muddy. We'll see. We'll see, you know what I'm like. I'll probably change my mind about 10 times before the project's ended. So this will be, hopefully, a dio of the crew and dispatch rider, you know, pass them the next load of orders. Maybe somewhere in the, you know, in the Alsace or across the Rhine, something in that nature. It might not be strictly where that particular tank with its markings was serving at the time, but it'll be good enough for me. As I say, I'm not bagging anybody that's done the mud and all that, but it's you know, it's the usual go-to thing, isn't it? And I just thought maybe no, we'll have it on a road setting, or you know, maybe in a courtyard or something, you know. So Beetle and Mrs Beetle, I can't thank you enough. You know, it's you know, I've said it obviously out on the YouTube. I've obviously given you enough emails and that saying it, because it really is appreciated. As I say, you know, all the negativity that goes around, there's people doing the opposite, doing some really kind things for others, and you know, it's just fantastic how people reach out to others. So guys, take care of yourselves. This will be Gav's next project. I'm looking at the time. I might even have myself my first hour on it tonight. It'll be as and when, but it will be the only one I'll be working on until it's complete, because it's fairly involved with the figures as well, and the dio. So you know, as they say, what can possibly go wrong? So Cheers guys, you take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video. Cheers.